All right, let's talk about something really important: the journey of caregiving. It's complex, it's challenging, but it can also be incredibly meaningful. And for so many people, this isn't a role you choose. It just happens. A sudden event changes everything. So that's what we're going to explore today, a guide to understanding that path. You know how it starts? It's often just one thing, a single sentence, maybe a phone call or a doctor's visit. And just like that, life splits into a before and an after. That phrase, that moment changed everything. I mean, for countless caregivers, that's exactly how it feels. It's the starting line for a whole new reality. So let's take a real-world example, a story about a woman named Maria. Her journey didn't start with a bang. It was quiet, almost sneaky. Her mom began forgetting small things, car keys, names, and the family did what most of us would do. They just chalked it up to, oh, it's just part of getting older. A slow, gradual thing that didn't seem like a big deal at first.
And then the phone rings. It was that moment, the one we just talked about. A neighbor called, worried. They'd found her mother wandering outside, confused. Right there, in that instant, Maria's world shifted. She wasn't just a daughter anymore. She was a caregiver.
And that's the thing, right? This journey so often begins just like that, completely out of the blue. It's not like you plan for it or apply for the job. It's a sudden response to love, to duty, to a need that just appears. And those first few weeks, man, they're a total whirlwind of new jobs and a really steep learning curve.
So for Maria, her life just got turned upside down. Suddenly, her calendar was filled with doctor's appointments. She was trying to figure out complicated medication schedules, making sure her mom was eating right, and on top of all that, just being there for comfort. And remember, she's trying to do all this while still holding down her own job and taking care of her own family. It's no wonder that feeling of being completely overwhelmed just moved in.
And that really gets to the heart of what caregiving is. It's not one job. It's like a dozen jobs crammed into one person. You become a master of wearing all the hats, sometimes all at the same time. There's actually a perfect word for this: multifaceted. It just means having a lot of different sides or features. And wow, does that capture what a caregiver does all day, every day. You're constantly switching gears, pivoting from one role to the completely different next one. I mean, just look at this list. The number of roles is just incredible. You're not just a helper. Nope. You're an advocate fighting for the best care in a doctor's office. You're an organizer juggling bills and schedules. You're a driver. You're a counselor with a shoulder to cry on. You're a companion. And you have to be a creative problem solver for whatever weird challenge pops up that day. And this is what it looks like in real time. In just a couple of hours, you could be on the phone trying to schedule a super important appointment. The minute you hang up, you're in the kitchen prepping a healthy meal. And then you're sitting down to provide emotional support after, say, a tough phone call. It's this nonstop, multifaceted dance. Okay, so we've talked about all the doing, but underneath all those tasks, there's a whole other journey going on. And it's just as intense. We're talking about the emotional side of things. It is a genuine roller coaster with huge ups and deep downs. And sometimes you experience both in the same afternoon. Yeah, look at this. It really shows the two sides of the coin, doesn't it? On one side, you have these moments of just deep satisfaction. You know you're making a difference. You share a laugh. You have a moment of closeness you never expected. But the other side is just as real. The stress, the loneliness, the exhaustion, and that little voice in your head always worrying, am I doing enough? And here's the most important takeaway from all this. It is 100% okay and normal to feel both of these things at the same time. You can feel so grateful for the time you have, and at the exact same moment, feel a kind of exhaustion that goes right to your bones. Just knowing that, just acknowledging that it's normal, that's a huge first step. So with all these challenges, where does the strength come from? I mean, how do you find support when the journey gets this demanding? Well, that's what we're going to look at next, the places you can find that strength and some really practical ways to get support. For a lot of people, a deep source of strength comes from their faith. Take this verse from Galatians. It really frames caregiving as this incredibly powerful act of compassion. It's about literally carrying someone else's burden, and in doing that, you're putting love into action. And then there are those moments we've talked about when you're just so tired. This promise from Matthew can be a huge comfort. It's this powerful reminder that you're not alone in feeling weary and that there's a place you can turn to for rest and for strength.
Now, beyond that spiritual support, you absolutely need practical steps, and this checklist has some great ones. First up, share the load. Seriously, create a schedule so other family members can pitch in. Next, set realistic expectations. You have to accept that you can't fix everything, and that is okay. And finally, please don't forget to take small breaks. A quick walk, a quiet cup of tea, it makes a world of difference.
All right, as we start to wrap this up, I think it's really important to kind of reframe this whole role. Because if you can look past the daily checklists and the emotional roller coaster, you often find something much deeper. You find that this is a journey with real purpose.
When it comes down to it, caregiving is so much more than just a list of tasks. It's a profound journey. It's really an expression of love, a masterclass in patience, and, believe it or not, a catalyst for some amazing personal growth. And that's the wild paradox of caregiving, isn't it? Through all the difficulty, through the fire, caregivers discover this inner strength they had no idea was there. We're talking about a deeper level of compassion, a kind of patience you didn't think was possible, and a resilience that honestly prepares you for anything. These are the unexpected gifts you get from walking a really difficult path.
So I want to leave you with a question to think about. If you're a caregiver, or if you know someone who is, what's just one small, practical thing you can do this week to take care of yourself? Because please remember this, caring for the caregiver isn't selfish. It's absolutely essential.